So there are different ways you can start a thread, and but I'm only going to show you one here today, and it's the one that I find the easiest. So in your embroidery packs, you will have little bobbins that I've made up for you. I keep my thread on a peg, which I then have hanging on the pegboard of dreams in my study. When you embroider, you usually want to use a relatively short piece of thread. So the camera's not quite the right angle, but I pinch it and I roll it down to my elbow. That is roughly how long you want. But for this particular method, you need twice that again. So I've got that there, and then I just pinch it and keep rolling until I get to twice the length of my arm. And that is then where I cut it. So embroidery floss is actually made up of 6 tiny little threads that are all wound together. And usually when you embroider, you use a finer thread than the whole floss. You're more than welcome to use the whole floss if you want to for a sort of chunky look. But for finer embroidery, we tend to split the floss up. The technique that I'm going to use folds the thread in half. So if you pull out 1 strand, you fold it in half. It's as if you're sewing with 2. If you pull out 2 strands, you fold them in half. It's as if you're sewing with 4. And if you pull out 3 strands, you fold them in half. It's as if you're sewing with 6. If that sounds crazy, it will make sense when I show you how it works. So bear with me, watch the video through, and then you can do it yourself, and it should make sense. Okay, so for this example, I'm going to pull out 2 strands. So when I thread the needle, it will be as if I'm sewing with 4 strands. So I need to pull out 2 strands now. Sometimes it helps just to roll the floss a bit back and forth in your fingers, and you can see it's starting to come slightly looser at the top. And then you just have to pick out, so I've picked out two strands there, and then you just pull them apart. Sometimes it doesn't come apart as easily as this. The trick is to try not to let go of this side so that it doesn't come completely tangled, but you just gently pull, gently keep pulling. If it starts to tighten up, just let go and then come back to pull again. Keep going. Sometimes it can look like a hot mess at the bottom. Okay, so then we just keep pulling and pulling, and it will come apart like that. And your remaining threads that you're not going to use right now, you can wind around your bobbin. In this instance, I'm going to wind it around my peg. That just keeps them safe and untangled for the meantime. Okay, then you need to get your needle and thread up.